Our music is so good on this program, it doesn't matter whether we play it at the beginning or the end. I'm telling you, it's absolutely fantastic. This is John Chapman. This is The Challenge with John Chapman. I am the voice of reason crying in the wilderness. And we are endeavoring to bring religion and politics back to the dining room table. And I think we're making some headway. I'm going to catch you up on some stuff here briefly first. And if you're tuning in right now, if you're catching this podcast, please go to Facebook and like and share. You can find us on Rumble and you can sign up there. Got a few more to go, so we can go live stream video direct on Facebook. So looking forward to that. I want to find the faithful 15. That's what I'm going to call them, the faithful 15 that are willing to go on there, send that out to their friends and say, hey, sign up to follow this page. And then we can get farther, faster. Glenn, it's good to have you in studio today, bro.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited to listen to what's been going on.
Yeah, apparently you've been in places where it was snowing a lot, and
yes, a bit,
and it's better here. So I know it's awesome. We are, for those of you who are listening, we took the podcast and we boothed out at. Let me find it here. This was an awful lot of fun. Last Saturday we were in Council Bluffs, and it was the Iowa Liberty Fest, and it was hosted out there at Crossroads Church, and it was a bunch of believers getting together. Talking about civics, government, Christianity. Had a couple of really nice panel discussions with some current representatives. Had panel discussion with 4 who are running. One has just gotten in of that 4 group on a special election, and heard some very inspirational speeches. Had some time of worship, some time to prayer together. It was like the molding of everything all together. And like anything, you go in there and you go, you know what? I'm not so on board with what I just heard there. And other things like, oh my gosh, we're all working at different levels, different angles, guys doing a lot of things in people's lives and using it in government. John, does that mean there's hope for this nation? That'll be another show. that'll be to be continued.
Small.
That's right. There's a lot of great warriors out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about that. But the fate of the world is in the Lord's hands, to be honest with you, including our nation and those things. We need to discern that. And I want a couple updated things too, Glenn. I know that we're gonna try to break down. I'm going to talk about some stuff from Iowa legislature. I was down there yesterday. And I know we're going to get to Minnesota, which just looks like a big fishnet thrown over the whole thing with a lot of fingers pointing. And we got to talk about that today. And I think we need to nail down some issues there, because I hear a lot of people saying, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I'm like, I'm sure that could be, but we want to analyze that a little bit to kind of see what's going on. It's chaos up there. And when I say chaos, I mean it's political rhetoric, it's law enforcement, it is deception, it is illegal money use, and I mean at the highest levels. Minnesota, I never would have thought the great Norwegian place of Minnesota would have the eye on it so bad. And we're definitely going to break down some stuff on that. Yesterday was my first day, and down to State House, and I don't know, when you lived in Illinois, did you ever go to your capital by chance? I know you chatted with your reps.
We certainly did. We didn't go down to the Capitol too often because it was in Springfield, Illinois, which was several hours away. We couldn't just dump a bunch of people in there and hustle down there for the day and then hustle back. So, yeah, but interacted a lot with our local reps in the Rockford area, for sure.
Well, I do like living in the Des Moines area. Last year was the first time I've ever gone down there to just kind of learn the ropes. And Monday I went down. I went, all right, this is it. I just feel like this is my time. I'm going to go down there, try to bump into some people that I've seen before. When I go down, it's last year once or twice, I went to committee, and they're presenting a bill, right? They're saying, hey, should we push this out into the House? Are we going to see if we want to pass this, send up the Senate, turn it to law, so on and so forth. And committee, of course, is the first place a bill goes. And then you got lobbyists showing up into those rooms. You got, I identify myself as dad and grandfather when I speak, because that's the heart of which I speak from, when I'm going down there. And, there was a bill calling SB 1030. And so I went down there. I was reading the Iowa Standard last week, and the Iowa Standard does a fantastic job and say, hey, and he's not like, hey, only these bills. He's like, here's the bills that are coming up there. Just want the citizens to be aware. And so this one was interest to me, Senate Study Bill 1030. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna read that. And it's only about a page and a half long. And it has to do, and here it is. I got it pulled up here, Senate Bill 1030. And this is for, the reason I went down and wanted to talk about this, because you would never think that we would be living in a time in our lives where a state would put forth a bill saying, we need to be careful about the things that are sprayed into the air. Now, this is not conspiracy podcast day, um, because I'll tell you later what I genuinely think about that. But what they're saying is when things do get into the air, if there's any kind of biological adjustment being happened, there geo change going on there. We want to be ahead of the game to have laws in place, and already up to 5 years in prison, by the way, if somebody flies a plane over this state and drops anything into the air that isn't pre-approved. I know the bugs are dying all over this great state every summer when planes fly over it and drop, herbicide on it or insecticide. But this one was for, so I went down to talk because we've talked, and we have a mutual friend, you know him better than me, but they have these seeding companies, right? So they go up in their planes, and what they're trying to do is adjust what's going on. So the weather already has to be there, the clouds have to be there, the moisture has to be there, and they drop stuff out of the planes in there to alter or just change what's about to happen. And apparently I didn't realize this. I thought it was to protect or make hail smaller in some cases. And I learned yesterday that in many cases it's to increase moisture, to try to help areas of land where there isn't any moisture, to see if they can get rain to go there at some consistent level. Now, I don't know who the companies are that pay for this, and that's my big red flag. It's like, so who's promoting this? Why are they paying to do as insurance companies or whatever? And but literally a guy, so I thought, no, I'm going to talk about this and say, yeah, this is a good idea. We want to stay in front of this. I'm here to testify that I know personally that this can happen. In different states, they use this kind of a program. That is not a chemtrail. It's cloud seeding. And that's a known thing. And Glenn, there was a guy that called in from out of state who is maybe the vice president of a cloud seeding company. No, from out of state, right? To talk about this. Right. Yeah. And so they're wanting to put their input in on this. And what they're saying is, hey, this is real. We do this as companies. Yeah. And so they just said, whatever you're doing with the bill, please know that, yes, companies do this. And this is, and he explained the process so that we understood this is what cloud seeding is. Yep. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. And then he wasn't mad one way or the other. He says, our company's calling in to weigh on in your state's bill to give our thoughts on it. And that happens all the time.
Absolutely.
They have representatives come down with the medical community and stuff and speak at that. And it was so funny because you had your left leaning people down there to speak, and the zealots, of course, are exactly who you think they are, and they all start hollering, well, we believe in science, and this is gonna make people believe in conspiracies and all that kind of stuff. And they're not reading the bill; they're just being political voice in a kind of a weird. I felt bad for them, really, because even in a place like that, I sound relatively intelligent. I say that with fear and trembling because it's not common for me to sound that way. But there's some other people but what I do like about that process is there might be some Republicans, Democrats, independents down there that I could get along with. I can see that because people are people. And I can see there's people like, I just want to like you because I just don't like you because, man, I don't like the way you talk or the way you approached me or whatever. Call it what you will. Those are just relationships. Right. But I kind of like the process. It's real. It's just some people standing down there coming from different walks of life. And it's not huge. Not a lot of people show. Usually they do when they need to scream a lot. But anyway, so that I went down there and went, well, that was fun, and then they went along with that. And this is an act requiring a United States citizen. Oh, no, excuse me. This is the whoops, I got the wrong bill up there, right? Anyway, they passed this act in regards to just checking out cloud seeding and stuff.
Yep.
So I'm getting ready to head out the door, and somebody said, hey, are you staying? And I'm like, well, what's the next one? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, it's a requirement in the state of Iowa with the medical examiner's office that any SIDS child, any sudden infant death that occurs, age 0 to 3, that it will be mandated that the state coroner's office knows what their vax status is and the quantity of them and the number of them. It must be known. Right now, there's a box on there that just says vaxxed or not vaxxed. Mm-hmm. But they're saying this law says you need to say to the coroner, we're not saying this is why, but we're saying this is what all has been injected into this infant.
Interesting.
Right? So I said, oh, heck yes, I'm staying. So I stayed and said, yeah, this is important. I mean, the coroner's job is to determine reason of death.
Yeah.
So if there's any option of this being even a remote potential, parents deserve answers. Family members deserve answers.
Yep.
And the medical community, as much as we all love them, deserve to be held to some sort of account. Like they need to be involved with knowing if it doesn't work, yeah, you need to make some adjustments or something's wrong about what's going on there. And so then a state examiner showed up and actually said the same thing. He's actually a pro-vaxxer, but says we need this information. This is information we need. And then they had cases actually brought forth giving the numbers of proving two different people spoke and produced the report showing that National VAERS only reports 1%.
Yes.
1% of vaccine deaths or vaccine related or potentially related, 1%, two of these.
Yes.
Right. And I'm like, and so they came with some strong cases. So then Mercy One shows up. And we are concerned about this bill because parents might second guess vaccines. Second guess. And I'm telling you, this is where I learned it's hard to be in a committee room and not say, who in the heck do you think you are saying parents shouldn't be the ones second guessing every dang thing that happens outside this world but I saw the arrogance. I saw the arrogance of the medical community come out in ways. I'm just going to say you had to be there. You had to be there. Well, she seems like a nice enough lady. Did anybody just hear what she said? Like a law that might actually cause parents to question you. I'm sitting there going, my palms were getting all sticky. But it was great. But, she presented it. There's no argument or anything. And then she disappeared again. She goes, this is why. And the thing of it is like, yeah, there it is. There it is. It's displaying itself. And then the left leaners that came, you had the atheist free thinkers was atheist free thinkers. Right. I thought that was fantastic. I know I want to have all those people on the podcast. This is an open invitation to any of those people would come down here and say, and I want to talk to you about them. I would love to chat with these people. Right? You can't be a free thinker if you're determined that you must be an atheist to be a free thinker. You're already not a free thinker. It's like it's an oxymoron. So, but anyway, their argument, those same people came over from the cloud seeding side and said the same thing. It's not we trust the science. We trust the science. And we're trying to get the science. It was unbelievable. And they were saying, and people, this has already been flat out disproven that this absolutely never happens. This is what they said. This absolutely never happens. And it's in the medical journal now that it is. And they're down there saying this is conspiracy. This is their argument. If all the left has is to go into every one of those rooms and scream conspiracy, and trust the science, if the left wins in this state again, I'm going to scratch my head because I don't understand that. Now there are a few people down there on the left side saying, and they would say, hey, here's some concerns about the bill. Here's where we think it could produce some overreach. We do think it needs some more discussion. Let's take a look at this and see how we can break it down. I'm like, oh, those discussions really do happen, right? They really do. They're not just saying, but the chairman, or not the chairman on that particular group, but there's three chairs. There's the chairman and then two representatives that come to listen to people.
Okay.
Right in there.
Yep.
But the left guy was a doctor. And he absolutely copped an attitude when he gave his opinion. He was frustrated, threw down his pen. And I wanted to say, my 5-year-old grandson's got more stamina than you do. It was unbelievable. And he tried to accuse, he looked at the state examiner straight in his face. He goes, 30 deaths unknown doesn't constitute that we should have to mandate this. I'm going, see, he practices to be God. The state examiner practices knowing people die. And that's the difference. The representative, who was Dr. So-and-so, he couldn't have been 30 years old. He just looked like a punk kid to me, just growing up. And I just thought, obviously, you got the God complex because you administer drugs to people because you're their savior. State examiners going, I do examinations on people who are dead, and we try to find out
why.
Because they're dead. And you can see the two different mentalities. Both doctors, right? Both doctors, but one has the new heady idealism that's going on. And that's sad to me, absolutely sad. So that was fun to be down there and a part of that. But, we don't have any riots going down in Des Moines right now. So less exciting, but I'll keep you in touch on some stuff that's going on because I know there's a bill going through too that's going to attempting to restrict public schools from teaching gender identity complexes and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so I'm really looking forward to following that one too. And we'll keep touch on that stuff too. Governor Walz. I put a post out I'm serious. One of my best posts. I love it so far. Go to the challenge Facebook page. It was fantastic. And it says the Democrats, when they are in office, hey, everybody needs to submit to the federal government. Everybody needs to submit to their authority. Everybody needs to submit, do what they're doing.
Very recently,
right?
In fact.
And then I said, Democrat Walz, after he takes a shellacking in an election, nobody should obey the federal government. Nobody should do what the federal government's telling them to do. Nobody should. This was my post. It was really genius. I giggled. It was like midnight when I posted. I went, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then the Democrats, when they're simply not in power, what do they say? Oh, everybody, we need bipartisanship and come to the middle.
Boy, I know. It just gets old.
And then I found a meme. I love this. I'm not a meme guy. And we're going to have a conversation about memes. Some astute individual from our church showed me some memes. They're absolutely immorally stupid. And they're now being put on our phones. So we're going to have a conversation. But I found this cool meme, right? That the guy takes his palm. Have you seen the meme? And he slaps his face. You know, he goes like this. It was perfect. It was the perfect meme. I love it. I hope people find it and like it. But it was a lot of fun. We got to take a look at this. You called me up and said, "Man, what's going on? When is the accountability going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of real indictments are we talking about? What do you think? You see this going on right now. Just tell me, what do you think's going on up there?"
Well, let me take just a quick step back to what you were talking about earlier with Iowa. I mean, I could not be happier that you were down there, and I hope that people that are listening to this podcast go, you know what? I want to get involved.
Yeah.
All right. We're not even telling you what to believe or think, but I want to get involved. And I can tell you, as a former resident of the state of Illinois, you don't want that here. There is no discussion in Illinois about anything.
Right.
So Iowa, you've got an opportunity to keep the train on the tracks. Go down to the courthouse and you can participate, talk to your state legislatures, write, email, call, express your opinion. It doesn't matter if a bunch of freaks down at the courthouse are going to try to yell you down. You are entitled to your opinion by constitutional act, and go ahead and do that. So it's so cool that you're doing this. And hopefully people are seeing the importance of this and are going to get involved and get excited about this, because we are certainly not out of the woods with politics in the next few years. So get involved, you guys, and be a part of this. And if Jay Call's ever back on, oh boy, just what great resources you guys have. Just so cool. But yeah, so Tim Walz, and here's the fascinating thing. He was a candidate for vice president. I don't know if anyone
I lost sight of this. It's almost crazy. It's just like you don't even think that. You don't.
No. He's a candidate for vice president. So if you were to, it's interesting, the crowd talks about, follow the science. I just follow the science. Oh boy, how crazy. So here's some, I'm just going to go macro just for a second before we get to the micro part of it, right? Macro is, let's go back to the budget. Let's go back to our financial situation as a nation. The biggest drain on our tax dollar resources is Medicare, Medicaid. Full stop. That is the most money we spend in the budget.
Yep.
With Social Security being 2, and the interest on the debt being 3. So by far, that's the most money that we spend, is that third of it, Medicare, Medicaid. Okay, so where was this almost $18 billion in 10 years taken from? Medicaid. So Medicaid
one of the top spending issues for us as a nation.
And so who contributes tax dollars to Medicaid? Minnesota? No. Every blue collar working taxpayer in the United States pays into Medicaid and to Medicare.
Right.
And of course, I mean, everyone, if you're getting taxed, of course you're paying, right?
Yeah, right.
But these are federal tax dollars. This is not the Minnesota crowd. I'm sure Minnesotans pay that tax, right? So this guy, knowingly, over a decade, has seen $18 billion, probably conservatively, $9 billion for sure. They're trying to figure out how far this goes, taken fraudulently out of Medicaid and Medicare. $18 billion. $18 billion.
With a B for
with
everybody.
a
B as in boy.
So did he know? Of course he did. So now my question is, citizens of the United States that pay federal tax dollars, what are you going to do? Because apparently he's untouchable.
Right.
Now, if I took $10,000 from the bank that didn't belong to mine, I'd be in a court and there'd be trouble. But this clown and everybody that's under him has stolen from a account at the federal level, Medicare, Medicaid, that is slated to go bankrupt in 2033. So what's the debate that we're having? Oh, ICE
Yeah.
and riots in Minnesota, and they're going to close their businesses or else. Okay, so what does everybody do in Minnesota when Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, for that matter, are broke?
Blame Trump.
Well, that's great, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do now?
No, I mean, that's all they have. That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, anymore, everybody's just like, well, I'm just going to pick whoever the other side is. I'm just going to blame them.
It's just so bizarre that this is the discussion that we're having when the big picture is we don't have spare dollars to spend. It doesn't matter if you like immigrants or you don't. We don't have spare dollars to spend.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you like Democrats or Republicans or liberal or conservative. We don't have these dollars to spend.
Yeah.
They have to be reined in, and they have to be reined in soon, or the account goes bankrupt. It becomes insolvent in 2033, and that's a conservative estimate.
Right.
So why isn't any of that making the news?
So part of me, I was thinking about this today. A part of me gets nervous, not afraid, because I'm very confident in my life here now. So I'm not afraid of much that's going to happen. I get nervous about it because I just always want to make sure I'm ready for whatever could happen in my own person as a man, so that my heart is pure and I'm right before God, so that the next thing that I do is before Him first, and then say, now release me. What are you wanting first? That's always, we preach that here a lot. So when I say I get nervous, I kind of get nervous for other people because I see the deception continue in rank and file ways of media. People I know, believers, non-believers alike, the deception go. And it doesn't have to be this way. So it's the biggest shouting bullhorn that shouts what's going on. But it's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're staring at him. Billions and billions of dollars have been given to foreign internationals who are most likely illegal at the highest level, and sending the same money back to Muslim terrorist organizations outside of this country. And every time I say that as a conservative or as a believer in Christ Jesus, somebody's going to say, you hate people.
Right.
That's all that's been assigned.
That's the emotional
through this
response.
media. The media has assigned that so that I automatically have the false accusation. You hate blacks. You hate Somalians. You're intolerant of Muslims. I am intolerant of lying and taking the money that I pay, that I lose all the time, that I could have done one thing or another for my own family, and back to a constitutional premise of what the Constitution did and did not allow for us ever to use our money for.
No.
And
Never.
we're so far lost on this. We keep thinking, oh, well, we just got to stay in the game. What game are you talking about? When that much money is missing at this level, at what point are we going to have? And I don't know. It's true. I mean, we're going to have. We had a good time out there in the at the Iowa Freedom Christian event of politicians and stuff. And I can assure people right now, Brad Sherman's campaign has already reached out to us. He had told me before, I'd love to be back on. We look forward to having him.
Absolutely.
We're emailing right now. We're going to see him soon. And I like him. I like all these guys. I want to meet them all and all this kind of stuff. I'm going, but when are we going to recognize? I don't understand how we can have another voting cycle and not go, my gosh. The money's gone, and why do we keep pretending as if? And now you've got so you got this going on up there, and I totally forgot. I'm sitting there going, the riots have been posted so much that it's such a big deal. It's all anybody's talking about, but it gets people talking about, well, I'm pro ICE or I'm pro riot.
Right.
What about the money? Which brings us back to our first ever show that we did on that. I'm going to repeat the movie. Show me the money. Show me the money.
I was thinking about that today.
Mr. Willman, I have an assignment for you, Mr. Willman. So you're going to want to write this down. We need to get a clip from the movie. What's that movie called?
Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr., right?
Yep.
Where he was an agent.
Oh, my gosh. It was so good.
Jerry Maguire.
So we're going to need a clip of the phrase, show me the money. I found it when we first did the show. I didn't realize there was a curse in it. I didn't know. I didn't realize. So I clicked it. So we're going to want the clean version. But it is a great scene. And this is the truth. Show me the money. And people have been so subtly going, well, we don't even care about that now ourselves. And this is what happens when the nation rolls on debt for so many years. We're just okay with it. But at what point does it catch up with you?
Right.
Because the truth of the matter is when debt catches up with people, one of two things happens. They file for bankruptcy and they look for somebody else to carry the load.
Yep.
Well, there won't be enough American citizens to carry the load. Or number two, and this is what I'm about to say, I say with very amount of seriousness and respect for people who are struggling in a very depressed state because of what financial debt can do. A huge swath of individuals just take their lives.
Yeah, I know.
It is a huge swath. Johnston, Iowa here. I want to say 10 years, 12 years ago. A gentleman, upstanding citizen. People knew him as a great neighbor. I didn't even know who the guy was. But his house burned to the ground and they found him in his own bed. And it was later discovered that he had over 3 or 4 mortgages on the house. And the fact of the matter is, my heart just broke for this guy. Well, we need to look at this as a nation and go, look, there's going to be a day where we're called to this. And right now we're sweeping it under. And check this out. It's even happening now. And is our own federal government playing too soft on one issue to try to defend its rights to be there with ICE enforcement? What's going on when they're trying to switch that around? Is there further problems, deeper problems, federal problems?
Oh, heavens, yes. I mean, that's the whole MO, right? It's like a distraction. It's like if you got something going on that you don't want the rest of the country to know about because it's significant as far as how it damages the country. I mean, if the people on the left, that's goal number one. They're not trying to save the country or anybody in it. They want it eliminated completely and change from a capitalistic democracy, democratic republic like we have, into a socialist or communist state. They've, the teachers union in Chicago just flatly says it. Yeah. So that's the idea. So you don't want people to see that that's happening. So what do? You change the dialogue and you've got all the help that you need from the media. And that includes media like Fox News. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's on the story on Fox News? I can't even watch TV anymore, for crying out loud. So, good grief, guys. I don't care what you think about ICE or these guys. What's really going on up there that they are trying to hide this? Because at one point they'd actually said, well, we should probably investigate and see where the money's going.
Yeah.
What's going on there? And there was a guy that was actually doing that for them. Right. So he goes up there kind of like a James O'Keefe kind of guy when the O'Keefe Media Group was actually going in and looking at all these things. Going, guys, there's like this big empty building here. There's like $1 million going in every one of these. It's $400 million a year. For what? For nothing. Nobody's going into the building. So if the American public, and here's the American public that's really going to get maybe shocked the most, is the people that I would consider themselves like an old school Democrat.
Yeah.
Right. My good people. I know them. Good people. They might have done some public work, teacher, fire department, police department, you name it. And they wake up one day and realize they don't have anything at all in their pensions. The state of Illinois I don't know what they're looking at, but they've got nothing.
Right.
They're in humongous trouble. And so they're getting ready to retire. And they're funding the pensions now, but in a few years, that's all going to tank. So here's all these good people that contributed. They think the government's been looking out for them for all this time. And now they got nothing. They got nothing. And then they'll ask, what happened?
Right.
Where'd all the money go? Instead of right now asking,
where
is the money going? Because you have to have, a certain pension funding to make any of this work. The underfunded pension world, I can tell you, it happened in my company. Yeah. And they just said, gosh, sorry, we didn't fund the pensions properly. Now they're insolvent. And no one's having this story. Well, there's a few senators that aren't going to vote for this next spending bill because they don't like what ICE is doing in Minnesota.
Right.
Well, the problem is the spending bill.
Yeah.
We spend too much. We don't have the money. Where's the money going? Why is no one accountable?
That is the question.
That's the question.
Why is nobody accountable? Why is nobody being held to a level of accountability? And again, I'm not conspiring to this. It's just that it's in people's lives. You see it in ministry, somebody's life, something doesn't seem to be quite clicking about it. They keep coming to church. They're still faithful. Something's just not clicking. Something's not right. And eventually you go, even in your own person, you've offered enough non-judgmental goodwill towards the person. But then all of a sudden you're like, this is going a completely different direction with their life. There's areas in their life of unfaithfulness. Mm-hmm. There's areas in their lives that are starting to come to question. And as a believer, you're not trying to do that. You just wish they'd go, guess what? There's junk in my life. Because then you could go biblically and say, all right, brother, I forgive you. And we're going to cover this with love. And we're going to make sure you're restored. Right. And you've confessed it. And now you're free of it. And we're not here to shout from the rooftops, my friend. And then it could be handled biblically. God's government is so good.
I know.
His kingdom layout is mind-blowing. really, when you think about it, when it comes to provision for forgiveness, provision for finance, even in today's world and economy, it's absolutely amazing. So even in the church, people want to look good and not look bad so much they don't ever want that pointed to them. And it's like the government's in this state that'll never recover from, and we just can't be wrong. Instead, the government drop to their knees and cry out to the Lord God Almighty. Some people really think that's a simplistic thing, but I'm telling you, there is not another method for this country.
Nope.
There's not another one. There's not a vote. There's not a policy. Even when I go down and talk about these policies, I go down because I believe the Lord's leading me to do that,
and so you should,
knowing it's not going to establish God's kingdom, but I'm doing the work that I'm trying to do within that civic duty in the midst of that. And so here you have it. All this money's missing fraudulently. Walz says, "Well, we're going to look into it too. We're going to get to the bottom of this, right?"
Right.
Where are the other states? Let me say this. Are there not other states where ICE is going in and arresting illegals? I mean, Des Moines right now is nationally famous for this. Des Moines, Iowa is nationally famous for this.
Yes, they are.
So why in all the other states where ICE is operating, there isn't protests like Minnesota?
Well, let me give you a prophetic word.
Like Minnesota. Let me say that.
Let me give you a prophetic word. And this is just because it's just, A plus B equals C. Go into another state, and that will come soon, and see what they are allocating Medicaid for. Oh. And you think this little $18 billion thing in Minnesota was bad? Go into the bigger states that have real problems, and instantly you're going to have another story on the news that isn't fraud from Medicaid and Medicare. It'll be anything else. ICE, that could be the one.
Yeah.
Well, we don't like these guys here, or this or that. We've got this excuse, that excuse. But the reality will be, the more this starts to get uncovered. We talked about this when Les was on the show, right?
Yeah,
in the movie Jaws, it's like, I think we're going to need a bigger boat. You remember that? It's like you look out in the water and that thing surfaces, and that's what's happening now. And people are going, what on earth is going on?
Yeah.
What human being, and this is what the left pretends to purport, the compassionate ones are robbing good people blind, including the next generation that won't see any of this.
Yeah.
How is that compassionate?
Yeah.
But I say that once this begins to pick up some speed, you'll see it move from Minnesota to other states. And I think Illinois is a top contender. I've even seen some stories pop into the surface about how they have spent federal money, including COVID money.
Yep. Last week, it was released by the court of Iowa. I don't know if an action had been taken or it was as a matter of accountability, which is fine. I'm all about accountability.
Absolutely.
If Republicans are doing things that there should be called to question,
Yes,
and Democrats feel that they should be called to question on it, call them to question and walk through the process.
Yep.
And she was exonerated. She was actually being levied against. They said, you prematurely and unlawfully stopped the federal money from coming to our state.
Yep.
And I'll never forget when she declared, I am no longer receiving, state of Iowa no longer needs to receive any federal funding. And I went, oh, that's a nice feeling. We're kind of back on our own feet again. And now we're going to do this. So apparently that ticked people off. So that says something. You have citizens in Iowa that are pretty happy to take hardworking money from people from other states too.
Apparently so.
And look how we connect as states when it comes to what benefits we can get from the federal government. When we say federal, hey, well, that's from the federal government. These people don't leave the borders of Iowa. We're pretty fortunate in Iowa to be as financially solvent as we are. But you go to these other states where people are also working hard. It's not that it's not happening in Iowa. They're working hard, but they have very little, and their taxes are stripping from them. How dare us as a state take money from somebody else or another state where those families are trying to take care of them themselves too? And people are like, well, it's from the federal government. No, it's from some guy named Billy Bob who's in tears on his knees trying to take care of his wife and 2 kids.
Yep.
Oh, that's where it's coming from. I wish I wasn't a Christian sometimes. I do. I wish I wasn't a believer. My mouth would, it would just, dang it, just beep, 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 beep. Just, this is what ticks me off because everybody gets this, it's owed to me.
Yeah.
And so for a court, the court of Iowa to have to say, well, she was lawfully justified in a position to stop the funding.
Yeah.
What kind of people are in the state, you cowards,
I know.
What worthless, non-working people are in this state that were screaming about that money stopping?
Where do you want to start?
As if there wasn't a place to go get a
incredible.
job here in the state. Yeah, but there isn't. Be like me and every other kid out of high school that started at $3.35 an hour. That was minimum wage when I was a kid. I had 2 jobs while I was in high school, and then worked on the farm for my uncle one summer.
Yep.
You know what you do? You get dirty and you get it done. There, I've said my piece. So here we are in Minnesota, right? And so, so essentially, Tim Walz, and people need to get a hold of this.
Yeah.
Tim Walz has been fraudulently taking money from the poorest of the people, blue collar and tax paying millionaires all across the board, and giving it to people who, by constitutional law, should not get to have this money.
Correct.
And their money is not being used for what they believe it's being spent for. And now they're showing evidence that Tim Walz knew all along. He knew the money was not being spent for this.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a guy that's got oversight, right? That word keeps popping up. Well, he's got oversight of this fund. There's no corporation. I'm saying, no, that's not fair. Very few corporations would not have some kind of oversight for $18 billion or $9 billion if we want to go to the conservative estimate.
Right.
$9 billion. Yeah, we're just not really paying attention to that. You're not? Yeah, you're oversight. You're the governor. You're supposed to be making sure that this has been adequately taken care of per federal law. And the state of Illinois, per federal law, is supposed to come up with receipts for the money they've spent, and they haven't done it in almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so what gives them...
What? Wait a minute.
Almost 3 years, yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to give receipts for the federal monies that we've given you, the state of Illinois. Check out truthandaccounting.com and see how that's coming along. And the state of Illinois just flipping them the bird and saying, no, we're not going to. We're just not going to show you.
Mr. Willman, I have a second assignment for you. I have my coffee cup up here. I'm going to need a vomit bucket nearby. Mm-hmm. It's going to need to be close to where I am. When I hear information like this, it just makes me want to puke.
And people don't hear it because it doesn't come across on the news that this has happened. You know, so why doesn't the federal government have power to say, no, you're not getting another dime until we get receipts from what's required by law from the money that we give you? And, oh, well, look at those big mean Republicans, or look at those mean, conservatives. It's like, it's the law. You have to show us what you're spending the money on, because we've allocated it for certain things.
Right.
You know, when mom and dad loaned you some money for gas, you didn't take it to the bakery and eat a bunch of donuts.
Oh, you were a better man than me.
And then come home with an empty, tank in the car and say, hey, did you gas the car up with that 20 spot I gave you? It's like, is your wife and the donut off your face? I did. Yeah, in fact, I did. It's incredible. So all these people have grown up and now they're quote unquote leaders, which is just a fraudulent joke. And so we use the term fraud, right? No, you're a criminal.
Yeah.
You're a criminal of the highest order, a felon.
Yeah.
And these guys, not only will they maintain their positions, but they'll continue to move up in the political ranks.
This is your prophetic word on the show
prophetic
today.
Word. Yep.
You're probably right.
And that's not, right. It's prophetic. I'm using that your tongue in cheek.
Of course.
It's funny, but it clearly is the MO. It's what's going on.
Right.
It's what's going on.
Right. It needs to be thought about that Tim Walz was a breath away from being the vice president of the United States.
I know. A felon.
It needs to be pointed out that while Trump is being accused of being a power monger, and we talk about this, we use this term on the show. There's a reason I do it. I'm going to continue to do it. That the greatest cancer sickness is going on in government in our country is only repentance in the Creator through Christ can change this sickness, and it's the lust for power. It is the rise of man, and its enduring ability to take so much pride in itself that does it not lift itself up above God. That's why Satan was removed from the presence of God, and there wasn't an argument about it. Like it just, the scriptures talk about that when Satan was cast out of heaven, it was like an instant bolt. It was like when lightning goes off. And so it was at the moment that Satan thought, I am 1 millimeter above God. He was gone. Like God didn't sit him down on his lap and have a chat with him.
Didn't listen to his emotional reaction.
He didn't listen to his emotional reaction. He was gone in an instant. In this country, I want to tell people, I encourage you that we need to cry out to the Lord, and we need to get in our own backyards, and we need to see where we are running with a lust for power and how we're taking that to the ballot box and feeding that into this system. Because you can't call Trump a man who's just lusting for power, but watch Tim Walz not report for 3 years receipts to which government and seated president at the time. We assume he was cognizant, Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's the president, and a Democrat governor's not reporting federal mandate money to him in the name of deception in regards to this. And that's not the lust for power.
Oh, boy.
They don't think they're governing with all impunity, that they're not rising up and laughing with flames coming out of their hair going, That's what's going on here. In a quiet way. Can't touch me, can't touch me, can't touch me. Come on.
And it's really the sad thing is that the American public can be so easily manipulated because, A, we listen to what the news says unequivocally. That's absolutely true. And then B, if you don't listen to what the news says unequivocally, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
So the in-between is, okay, you don't want ICE to be in Minnesota. What law are they breaking?
Yeah.
What are they doing illegal? You don't like Tim Walz's policy. What's the illegal part of that? Well, it's all over the place, the illegal part of it.
Right.
You can actually go to court. And so then the question becomes, why are you being indicted and prosecuted for this if it's illegal? So there's ways to find out, but you have to stop. You can't listen to what the news says and go and say, what law did they break? And that ends the discussion 98% of the time. Well, I don't like Trump on this, other. I don't either, but what law is he breaking? Tell me what he's doing wrong that's illegal.
Right.
Specifically, please. Let's just don't get all fired up emotionally about it. What's he doing wrong technically? Right. So we can, just de-evolve from the rhetoric down to, okay, what's the Constitution? What are his abilities? And if he's doing something wrong, and this is why Republicans tend to kind of lose positions quite a bit because we don't tolerate it for the most part. When it comes out that somebody's really screwing up, he's gone.
Right.
I can tell you, that's why we have J.B. Pritzker. Because Laugh Gunner said he was a Republican. Oh, no, he was not. He's gone.
Right.
And most Republicans like me, or at least that bent, have left the state because it's not soluble.
Right.
It's insolvable. I've got friends that are still in Illinois, good friends, right? And it's just this funny thing. I'm going to stay here because I've got friends and family here. I get that. It's your home. You love this place,
of course,
right?
Of course.
And I tell people, it's like you're on the Titanic and someone comes into the dining room and says, Glenn, it's time to go. I think the ship is sinking. I'm going to stay on board because my kids and grandkids are here. What kind of lunacy is that? And that's where we are as Americans. We just don't think it's really going to happen.
Right.
So we live in this fake world of let's just yell at each other about ICE agents in Minnesota.
Right. I do believe there's always the potential in a declared free country that we are, that if you're a Christian, you still get to choose. I've heard a few people say the reason I'm staying in this debased state is God said I need you there.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? It's
absolutely.
not.
Absolutely.
You leave because something's collapsing, and there's a danger, so you protect your future in that. But in all things, you've said the same thing. I know you've moved back to Iowa just recently in the last couple of years. But I know myself, and that might be a testimony itself, but I know myself, you wouldn't come here unless you didn't think the Lord was saying, this is what I'm having you to do. You would have never left Illinois if God didn't give you the signature, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? If God didn't say, hey, I'm not signing this bill yet. You talked about it for years, and you didn't go anywhere. You didn't go anywhere. So how important it is that you're waiting for God to go, I'm signing you off now. I need you to do this now.
Yep.
So there's the obedience factor. That's why we bring this to the table in our conversation. You see these things happening. You got to figure out what God is having you to do.
Absolutely.
But don't do nothing.
No, you can't do nothing.
You can't do nothing.
No.
You got to do something.
Yep.
And if you're staying, then you better do something there. And if you're leaving, it's because the Lord's saying, I'm needing you to leave for these purposes. And therefore do that.
Yep.
So did you see that Governor Walz has 7 subpoenas sent to him now?
7?
6 or 7.
Okay.
Have been issued to him. And you have to dig a little bit in the news to find this. Imagine that.
You do. Yeah. No, you do.
So that doesn't mean there's indictments that have occurred. A subpoena is a request of law saying, hey, you need to show up. And sometimes that's a political party itself. It's a political show itself. But those subpoenas been released. Well, I heard of this on the news, and I just looked it up now. Friday, while I was coming home from work, I heard on the news that the Clintons have refused to come, where they have been subpoenaed to come and testify on the Epstein files. So they have both said, we're not doing it.
Isn't that interesting? I wonder if you can do that.
No,
What?
no, right?
What?
So they're not doing it.
No, they're not doing it. No.
I'll put $1,000 Tim Walz doesn't do it.
Nope.
And yet, President Trump, I got to give him some credit sometime. I think that's important that he's taken some stands. You look at stuff and you go, you take a look at this.
Yep.
Now, I don't know whether he went the first time he was subpoenaed or not, but I do know that he went and had to actually get written up as prosecuted, and he had to show up and take the shot and everything. And you know what? He came. He went through the process.
Yep.
What's everybody else going to do?
I know.
And I'm going to this is going to be a chance statement. Some believers may, I don't know if they'll believe this or agree with this or not. I have a tendency to trust the person who looks, I have a tendency to trust the person that's still willing to step through the process.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Not entirely, but I'm just saying I put a little more trust in somebody who goes, all right, cuff me, take me in, let's go through the process. Let's get that done. But when you have people go, nope, not going to do it. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to do anything. I just don't trust that.
Nope.
I don't trust that at all.
Not at all.
And if Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton had nothing to do with the Epstein files, and that's not what the show's about, but I'm talking about if you're just going to respect society.
Yeah.
And if it's just a political move not to come, because all Tim Walz is saying is, this is just politics. It's just it's just, I have to believe Tim Walz is doing something far more heinous than is even seen. I mean, that's it. And you see it.
Yeah.
When we were in prison ministry, there was two types of prisoners in there. The guys that had gotten saved, and they sat there in the tears, and they just said, it was me, man.
Yep.
It was me. I did it. I need to be here. It was me. That guy, fantastic. It was me. That guy's working at earning trust back by being truthful and honest.
Yep.
And I know the difference between crocodile tears and not, because I've given crocodile tears and I've had the real repentance change where your eyes dry up a little quicker.
Yes,
but there's
indeed.
both. And when we were in prison, I remember sitting down with this young man. Oh yeah, I'm part of the Scripture Pro, man. Jesus, man, he's great. But you got to know, man, these cops are corrupt. And I went, I'm sorry, bro. You just blew it. Just own your, sorry, your stuff. Just own your stuff. Dude, these cops, and you know what? Then somebody filed wrong, man. It's like crazy. It's like, dude, it's like, but I found Jesus. And I'm like, I don't think you did.
No.
See, I don't think you did find Jesus, because you keep saying everybody else is the problem. Finding Jesus is admitting that your own sin nature.
Right.
So people who, and this is not a speech about, I think Trump is saved. That is not what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
But I'm saying when people say they stop resisting, I'll go through the process.
Yep.
All right, here I go. Now, whether he says he did or didn't, to defend it, and they went through all that stuff, but look at everybody else now. And you remember the liberals just screaming bloody murder?
Oh, boy.
Oh, Trump, he's a criminal. He's a criminal. Look at his lust for power. He's just trying to force it. Nobody can touch him. And everybody keeps using the pedophile word on him. He's a pedophile. He's a pedophile. The terminology that is used anymore on the left, I mean, if that's their great debate conversation, I'm going, come on. And yet, so, okay. I'll tell you what, I'll believe you. So what's Walz? Oh, he's amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. You just lost me again.
Yeah.
So you don't have the Spirit of God in you. You don't have one wreck of truth in you. And you're a party lust activist.
Mm-hmm.
You lust after the party god. And that's all. And that's what I see going on up here.
Oh, absolutely.
In Minnesota. How's this going to get woven through? I mean, what are you going to think is going to next few weeks? If he's been subpoenaed, it's already been released. These Somalian groups have been having these quote unquote daycares, billions of dollars.
Yep.
What do we, all we're going to hear about is illegals and ICE and a bunch of weird women leaving their children behind. And so they can go get shot by resisting cops out there. I mean, geez.
Well, the media will do everything possible to make this go away or to hide it or to distract. I mean, it's just the way the media does it. How do we divert attention from this scenario? So, I mean, whatever that looks like, that'll happen. So the kind of stories that I'm trying to stick to look through this are is there any accountability at all? Right? Because, I mean, I doubt that all of that $9 or $18 billion, whoever you talk to, went right to a Somali hand. Right?
Right.
If you're an activist or any type of those things, you get your touch of the dollar as well before it goes to the next guy. That's the way a lot of these people make their living. is activism. You get paid as well. So that's going on. So if I was to see some story where there's like, yeah, Governor Walz and here might be a commissioner, there might be somebody else involved in this thing, is going to court and is prosecuted and found guilty and is imprisoned. Okay.
Yep.
I'm good for a while. But if this keeps going like this and they find other states and everybody just says, well, gosh, we can just do this because we're the governor, like J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, I can do whatever I please. We're just in big trouble. And I don't think we're going to just save the world by saying, hey, we just need to, read an article and go and vote for the next new governor. I just think it's just a sign, as you see the shark getting close to the top of the water, is like, this is the situation we are really in.
Yeah.
It's not fake. It's not easy. It's not good. This stuff's been going on for a long, long, long time. And now it's really rearing its ugly head as various people expose the problem. And so, like you said before, this is the time to realize your own problem, before God, and just say, okay, I can't solve this, but I can solve this with your help.
Yeah.
Let's start there. And you just won't see any of these protesters or any of these rioters starting there.
Yeah.
And that's a problem too, because what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What is it that makes them super moral to everyone else? And I feel bad for them because they really think on that day. I had this discussion with a colleague the other day. It's like, let's just cut everything aside. We'll cut through all the clouds, right? We're droning along through the sky, talking to this guy, a really good guy. No matter what, in the end of time, doesn't matter what anybody says, it's going to be you and him. And he's going to ask you about you.
Yeah.
And a man that understands that now is going to live a different life.
Yes.
He's going to be a different person.
Yeah.
Because he knows that day's coming.
Yeah.
And he'll have to give an account. Tim Walz doesn't think he has to give an account. He will.
Yeah.
So the closer that men get to God, the closer that women get to God, understanding that question will come. And the question is not going to be, how bad was your husband?
Right.
Or for the husband, how bad was your wife? Or how bad was Tim Walz?
Right.
He's just going to say, Glenn, you got to talk about your own life, bro. Yeah. What'd you do?
Yeah.
And so people need to get close to God. And by getting on your knees, just go, Lord, I know that conversation is coming. I know that salvation is offered. Let me live in the now with that understanding that I will have to answer for my own life. So how am I doing it differently right now? And if you're a protester in Minneapolis right now, you're listening to this, you're long gone, man.
Yeah.
You're long gone until you get on your knees and say, I will have to answer for my own life.
Right.
That doesn't mean stop, I don't want to say rioting. That's not a good way to do it, but peacefully assembling. That doesn't mean don't petition for redress. That doesn't mean any of that. It just means when the end is the end, how did you do it? Did you use God's help? Did you use his sovereignty? Did you have his Holy Spirit direct you? Or did you just do it your own way because you don't think you'll ever have to answer to him?
How many times have you ever heard it said when you're talking with somebody, they're arguing with you, and then you say, well, we're going to be judged someday. And they look at you and they go, yes, you are. Because the only thing they agree with is that what they're saying is
Right.
God's going to show you that I'm right in this. And I'm thinking about a couple of things. Do you think there's anything in the Christian culture that's actually causing a problem for people that don't think a judgment's coming?
Oh, I think there is. And I
The
think
church culture today.
it's a culture of grace. It's just do what we say or do what you want to do or what you feel like doing, because God isn't really going to judge you because salvation is free and he just offers it, and which is true. There's no question. I mean, you can't earn it.
Yep.
Full stop. Right. So when you're finally on your knees before God Almighty, you just say, I accept your son. That is the only thing I got. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah.
And when the church gets involved in the politics like this, where they redefine what's clearly written in the book, they will have to answer to God.
Right. Right.
For why did you say that about me? That I've never said that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be even worse conversation. So I'm very humble when it comes down to what does the book say? What does God say in the book? Because it's like, you know what? I don't want to say even a sliver, anything different than what he wants to be said.
Right.
And so when the church gets involved in this and just makes it an interesting show and a fun place to go, but don't worry about changing your life or actually being accountable for what you do, they're just kind of feeding the fire.
Yeah.
Rather, because you just know what it's like, man. Anyone that's ever met God and humbled himself, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Just to say, it's me. I need to be different. It's me. Like you said in the prison ministry, it's me. And so how do I do that now? How do I treat people now? And, at the courthouse, that person that's yelling at me in profanity, how do I treat that person? in humility, in forgiveness, in kindness, like God would have me do so. And people that live like that would never occur to them to take $9 billion that doesn't belong to them.
That's right.
And disperse it to your buddies. It would never occur to you to do that.
Yep.
I can't, as a father and a grandfather, sit at the table with all my kids around thinking, bring the steak over here to me and make sure you don't get any.
Yep.
It'd be the other way around.
Yep. Yep.
I won't take any. Make sure they're fed first. But in this culture of me, and there is no God and there is no judgment.
Yep. Yep.
You see the problem.
Hey, if somebody were to use the argument, yeah, but we're supposed to take care of the needy, and they'd say, look at the Somalians.
Yeah.
What's commonly misunderstood, and even in the Christian community, because they feel like they're the ones giving the Christian side of this by giving the money to the people that need the help.
Right.
There's not an example in Scripture,
no,
except for Israel itself or God's kingdom, where people take care of that community, which is where we get the idea is you have to have a country with its own governance for those individuals, for that to be taken care of.
Yep.
So, yes, I agree. You need to assist when God has blessed you. It is something of the heart of God to help those who are in need.
Yep.
But it's got to be your 8 billion. It's got to be the 8 billion you made.
Yep.
And if it's $8 you got, it's got to be your $8. Can't be the $8 that the government gave you to give.
Right.
I had once, I got upset at first, and it broke my heart a little bit for this individual because we were both raised this way. And I think just by watching our father, we just understood men protect and provide. If we got a couple of great things, Dad was just faithful. He was getting it done, made sure those fundamental things were just taken care of. And so I've got my new family. I've got my Judy, my daughter Jenna, and I'm about to have our first son. He might have been born already. And we were at a Bible college, and they had assistants for people. And they were, and I was working, had a job, and it was a sufficient job. It was a decent job, cover all bills and all this kind of stuff. And this person was going and getting extra for, I think it was one individual, maybe a child, but what they were doing was getting bags and bags and bags of things. Then they were taking it, and they were taking it to people and saying, here, this is from me. And they called me up and they said, hey, if you guys need some food, if you have tough, I know your wife stayed home, you got kids and you're young. So I've got a couple bags and I'll bring them over and you can have some formula and some diapers. And then I got some peanut butter and some rice. I said, whoa. I said, where'd you get this from? Well, the church has an outreach ministry, and so it's free. And I said, I can't take that. No, you can. It was free.
Right.
I said, that's not for me. I said, if that day ever comes, I'll ask him. And I said, that's what it's for. But that's not for me. And I remember hanging up the phone, and I turned to my wife and I said, I'm pretty upset right now because they tried to give away something that somebody else donated because they had enough. And they're trying to give it as if it's theirs. And it frustrated me.
Yep.
And this is what our government's turned into.
Yep.
And they're trying to give it away to people that it's not theirs. Really, this has been a tremendous conversation talking about Governor Walz, everything that's going on up there in Minnesota, and also considering the state of the church and where we're at and the condition of our hearts and where they need to be. If you don't know the Lord, the thing you need to do is believe in him. And it's tough. It's tough to get past your pride and realize there's nothing you can do for the sin that you've done, but to accept the payment that he's made. And that's what I know. And if you can dig down and humble yourself and let the blood of Christ be the thing that pays that price, then, and believe in him in your heart as your Savior, then that will be done. What we want to be is an encouragement to the church, to the people of God, people that don't know the Lord. We want to find them and share the Lord with them. Just embolden that conversation around politics and religion at the dining room table. And you can find us on whitedoveministries.net, whitedoveministries.net. You can find us on Facebook, The Challenge Podcast with John Chapman, likewise on Rumble. You can even go over to YouTube. So Lord bless you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.